Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman. Now I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit-Down. As I mentioned in my previous video, a little catch-up to do, right? The con really knocked me out physically. It was very hard to do anything by the time I got home other than sleep. And then Saturday night going into Sunday, I got sick. Fortunately, was able to recover and was able to make it out on day 4. For a minute, I thought I was going to have to bail, go home. But once I had 3 hours of no things going on, I knew I was good to go, and I was really happy. I was a little behind, got to the con later than I wanted to, wasn't able to scoop up some exclusive stuff I was hoping to grab because, I needed to sleep. But I went, hit the floor, tried, picked up a couple things, and then shot right to the Hammerstein Ballroom to go check out the world premiere of What We Do in the Shadows, the FXTV edition, 30 minutes long, first episode of the series. Absolutely hysterical. It's a different group of vampires, so no Taika Waititi, no Jermaine Clement in the show. Although I wouldn't be shocked if 1 or 2 of them showed up at some point. But from what we're gearing up and what the story has gone, we're not going to see those guys. But the new cast, Matt Berry is one of the leads. It is absolutely non-stop laughter. If you've seen What We Do in the Shadows, it's a fake documentary, a mockumentary on vampires in modern civilizations. And the movie, which stars Taika and Jermaine, is absolutely hysterical. I highly recommend. That was the thing that kind of got me onto Taika Waititi way, before Thor happened. And when he got Thor, I was like, the What We Do in the Shadows guy? Oh, and I knew right away. I was like, Thor's gonna be funny, and it worked so well. But Taika and Jermaine are producing, and Jermaine has written this season. And like I said, everything we saw is spot on. It meshes with what we got from the original. It feels like the original, and the comedy is off the charts hysterical. You were going to laugh nonstop. The human character that they have in it is perfect. They've even introduced a new type of vampire, which is really, really funny. They call him an energy vampire. That's all we'll say. I don't want to spoil anything. But there's a new vampire, and he's hysterical. Just everything about it. If you have seen the movie, you will definitely want to check out the TV show. And if you haven't seen the movie, check it out, and then definitely check out the TV show. Because just sitting in that panel afterwards, Taika and Jermaine and the showrunner were all out, and just listening to 2 of them talk is absolutely hysterical. Everything they said makes you laugh, man. And when you have 2 guys like that working on a comedy, you're going to get good stuff. So then from the Hammerstein, I had an option. Charmed, I used to watch the old, the original Charmed back in the day. And the new version was launching its world premiere. Or I could shift back to the Hulu Garden at Madison Square, or Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden, and check out the Doctor Who world premiere. Now, I will not lie to you. I've never watched any Doctor Who in my life, mostly because I've been intimidated by the amount of content that exists, right? I mean, the show came on in the 30s. We've had 12 Doctors. But when I was looking at the schedule, and I remembered what happened at the end of last year with the torch being passed to Jodie Whittaker and handing it off to the first female Doctor, I was like, okay, I could check out Charmed, which I don't need too much backstory on, and I'm familiar with the original series. Or I could go out on a limb and go check out the world premiere of Doctor Who and see what's going on with the first female Doctor. It's a new story. It's the start of that story. It's an entry point. I'm a little bit familiar with some of the technical terms, like the TARDIS and things like that. I've heard some things, getting to see Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about time travel in Doctor Who on day 1 of Comic-Con. If you didn't check that out, hit that video. But yeah, I knew enough where I was like, you know what, screw it, let's do it. If we're gonna get into Doctor Who, let's jump in now, man, because this is being hyped to be a big, important season. Considering that Whittaker is the first female Doctor, and I went and I checked it out. And what was cool is, unlike most of the other panels where the stuff we were seeing was exclusive, right, where we've seen either full episodes or whatever, this actually premiered worldwide at that hour online, so everybody was able to watch it, which is kind of cool. And it was so dope, man. I immediately, 10 minutes into the episode, I was like, yeah, Doctor Who's definitely for me. I was so hooked, man. Oh man, she was phenomenal, so good, man. I'm so excited to watch the show because of her. The whole cast that they have with her is really good, and their dynamic is really interesting. And I was so in love, man. I left. I went to go get gear at the NYCC shop, and there was some, Doctor Who stuff. Her shirt. You could buy her pants. You could buy her jacket. It was all female sizes. I was like, are there any male sizes? And they're like, no, it's all female. We give you a female size. I won't tell nobody. I was like, no, it's not. It's not about wearing, it's not the fact that the clothing is labeled female. It's the cut, right? The female shirts and things are cut differently than dude shirts. Look, if a girl's shirt was cut the same way, I'd get like a double XL and throw it, whatever. I don't care. But I tell you what, man, I'm going to find some Doctor Who gear. And get me a sonic screwdriver, man. I'm all in, dude. I loved it. And the crowd was on fire, electric. It totally just made you want to buy in. So once we got through the Doctor Who season opener, and I fell in love with Doctor Who, and certainly I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna backtrack and try to watch some other stuff. I'll probably start with David Tennant because I'm a huge fan of his. And check out his run. Bounce around, but we're definitely gonna follow this season for sure because I really, really thoroughly enjoyed that premiere. And then I left the Hulu theater to go wrap up Khan with one more final panel. And if you've been following me on Twitter, I have been preaching his praises all weekend long. Zachary Levi, dude, the guy is just amazing, right? Like, DC, like I said, didn't have a major movie presence at the con. Jason Momoa came for a day to sign and take photos. There are a couple big stars that did stuff like that. And here's Zachary Levi getting ready to do Shazam. A movie people weren't sure about. Everyone kind of got behind the trailer at San Diego. Comes for 4 days, does autographs, does photo ops, did a 30-minute interview on the Sci-Fi Wire live stage that we saw on day one, which was awesome. And then on Saturday night, he tweets out, hey, anyone that didn't get a photo op, I'm opening up one more time. Anyone that didn't get their scribble on and wants my autograph, I'm doing one more time. And I'm closing out Comic-Con with a 1-hour Q&A. No moderator, just you and me. And it referred back directly to something he had mentioned during his Sci-Fi Wire live interview where he was like, in this world, so the fans are so hardcore. He's like, I'm a comic book guy, right? Like, he didn't grow up on Shazam. He was a Marvel kid, but knew of Shazam. And when the material came his way and he did the research, fell in love. Because obviously, this character's perfect for Zach Levi. Zach Levi's a giant child, and this is essentially big with a superhero. So it works perfectly, right? We all know that. But what he was saying is, like, when you're doing this, no matter who you are or what you're doing, you're trying to make the best product and best movie and best whatever it is you're working on that you possibly can do. And yes, this material is ingrained in people, and it's so important to certain people, and the different ideas and concepts and things of how they think it should look don't always mesh with what happens. But he's like, I assure you, we are doing our absolutely best to give you guys the best movie or experience we can. And this conversation is so critical. To be able to talk to the fans so they can understand where you're coming from. Not every movie's for every person, but like when you know that these guys are working hard. I don't know. For me, it's like, yeah, how can you destroy the people who are involved? Like the actors and stuff, man. They're just given scripts and they go. But he'd been talking all weekend long about that conversation with fans. That's why he was there all 4 days. And to get a Q&A to end the con with him that he didn't originally have scheduled. I think Denai Guerrero was supposed to maybe originally be in that slot, and they may have had a filler when she had conflicts. But to give it to Zach Levi was the perfect thing. And for me, it was the best moment of the con, even better than 35 minutes of Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, and it was the perfect way to end the con. I have some clips that I'll throw up, hopefully on Instagram, in a couple days. But it just so inspirational to listen to the guy talk, man. He went through really bad depression. He went to some dark places, and he's been through therapy, and he knows so much. And to listen to him from a motivational side, man, it's so inspirational to hear him talk. And then to hear about his journey, man, the way he still loves Chuck, and the way he looked at Chuck in the moment, and the way he looks at Chuck now, and how he still wants to get a Chuck movie made, where you can get the whole cast in on that, because to do a season might be tough. And listen to him talk about comics and being a nerd and just everything about Zachary Levi. I keep saying it, DC, Warner Brothers, put everything behind the Shazam movie and behind Zach Levi. This is a guy that the fans will flock to because he's one of us. He is one of the tribe, as we say. And that in and of itself will get you tons of people to go to the movies because comic book fans will support somebody who's one of us. You know, and I think that's true. Even if you're a Marvel fan and not a DC fan, you see somebody like Zach Levi, you hear him speak, you want to support him. And it was a beautifully wonderful way to end the con. It was 4 days I never could ever replace. To have my first con happen in New York, you know, right outside my home. I'm a Jersey kid. To have, you know, to be at that first, you know, even before San Diego. And it was good, man. It was good to get my feet wet, and I learned a lot of things. But, oh, God, man, like the people I met, whether they were writers or artists or people in cosplay or just people at the con, everything about the weekend was amazing, man. If you're a nerd, if you're a comic book reader, if you're just a big fan of dressing up for Halloween, you know, and you like going all out and having people check, you know, like be impressed with what your costumes are. If if you're into any kind of nerdy stuff, man, I mean, whether it's like Dragon Ball Z and you know any of that anime stuff, or what, you know, or you just like comic books, or you like superhero movies or TV shows, or you just like sci-fi and interesting TV shows. I mean, there's so much now that's just pop culture driven. If you're a fan of pop culture, do yourself a favor and get to one of these cons. It doesn't have to be New York. It doesn't have to be San Diego. You know, I mean, it could be Chicago. There are cons all over the country. Do yourself a favor. If you've never done it and you're a nerd, go to a Comic-Con. Being in a place with hundreds of thousands of people who are your people, who speak your language, who understand where you're coming from, who you can sit there and rip, you know, just talk about, you know, superheroes or comics or just nerdy stuff for hours. The con is where all those people are, man, and there is no better warm embrace than the embrace of the nerd community, and the con is that place, and it was absolutely magical for me. I am so stoked to try to plan out to go to San Diego next year. And then even past San Diego, man, try to find cons all over the place. It is an experience that you have, and if you really connect with it, you just want to keep going back. As you can tell, it was extremely memorable and important 4 days for me. I really enjoyed the crap out of New York Comic Con. Thank you for everything, New York, that, you know, you supplied us. You know, it was amazing. And of course, Zach Levi, you know, just a personal thank you, man. You are the reason a con like New York was an amazing con, even though, you know, not all the big players wanted to show up. There you go, man. My day 4 recap, my Comic-Con recap, man. It was glorious. Like I said, if you haven't, and it's something you want to do or you've thought about doing, figure it out, man. Save the money. Start looking into it now. Go to the con. It's such a worthwhile experience for people who are a part of this community. So there you go, man. That's all C-Man's got to say about Comic-Con New York 2018. It was absolutely amazing. And day 4 was the perfect way to close it out, man. It was the perfect cap to a perfect weekend. So there you go, man. That's all I gotta say. Now it's your turn. Hit those comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking. If you were at the con, if you were following along, anything you want to talk about from the weekend that involved the Comic-Con or trailers or things that came out during the con, hit those comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking. As always, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, hit that subscribe and little bell so you get alerts every time I make a new video. For the C-Man Cinema Sit-Down, a huge thank you to New York, a huge thank you to Comic-Con, a huge thank you to Zach Levi, to everybody that showed up at the con. It was an amazing experience, an amazing time. I am the C-Man. I am signing off.
Hey, 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 I'm the C-Man and I'm running at you. Hey, 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 look at this. I got a video, and a subscribe button. Hey, hey, hey.